The lines, the number again is 866-957-2874, 866-95-PATRIOT. And let's go to Stanley in Houston, Texas. Stanley, welcome to the program.
Marco Rubio called Trump a dangerous con artist. He also called Putin a bloodthirsty butcher. Why do Marco Rubio and countless others throw away all of their principles and values just to serve under Trump?
You know, Stanley, it's interesting. You were in Alabama in the last hour. How did you get to Houston, Texas?
Why don't you answer the question? I'm not asking.
No, you answer my question. You call this program under false pretenses. I'd like to know how it is you migrated across several states in the space of less than an hour. Did you teleport or something like that?
I run very fast. Can you answer the question?
Yes, you certainly do. Well, you run from the truth and you run from logic, because we see this over and over again in politics, that people who oppose each other in presidential primaries come together in general elections and in administrations to run the country together. Marco Rubio said pretty nasty things about Trump in 2016. I covered that race very closely. Trump said nasty things about him. In fact, Trump was remarking on this a few weeks ago. He said, I used to call you Little Marco, but you're doing a great job now. And it's the same with Obama and Hillary. Hillary Clinton and Obama said horrible things about each other. Obama said that she was a racist, and yet he appointed her Secretary of State. Now, you wouldn't ordinarily hire a racist for a position like that, but people understand that things get said on the campaign trail that are either forgotten or forgiven when it's time to govern. And both sides do this, and it's not even a unique phenomenon. Or is this your first day observing politics, Stanley, from Houston, Texas?
I would have bet my house that you were going to give that pathetic answer. Remember when J.D. Vance called Trump America's Hitler? I always call people Hitler and then forgive them like, oh, I didn't know that person that well.
You know what's interesting? I do applaud that you're a man of your convictions, because you've never walked back the comment that you'd like to see Trump raped in prison. And you've always stuck by that. And you've repeated it. You've repeated it several times. You've repeated it several times on this show that you are in favor of the president of the United States not only going to prison, but being raped in prison. So I humor you and your little talking points, because I think it behooves my audience, who might have already tuned out some of their liberal acquaintances and relatives, as you heard from the last caller. I think it behooves them to understand just how stupid the mainstream of thinking among Democratic Party loyalists such as yourself really is. I know you pretend to be a Republican who doesn't like Trump, but you are basically a Democrat hack. And the best that you can come up with to complain about Marco Rubio's job is that he said nasty things about Trump in 2016. I note that in the last hour, at least, you called about something that happened last week at the summit in Alaska, but you didn't say anything about the incredible job that Marco Rubio did in that meeting with Donald Trump, getting these two sides closer to peace than they've been in 3 years, which, again, Joe Biden didn't do, Democrats didn't do. Democrats just want to fund and fuel the slaughter. And that's why you're attacking Trump and Rubio and bringing up all this stuff, because you just don't have a leg to stand on. I got to tell you, it was really fun to enjoy the silence after the election last November, when you confidently predicted that Trump was going down and you disappeared for a while. You crawled back under your rock. I know it must have hurt, because the prison rape fantasies had to go away for a while. But as long as you're sticking to that position, you know, I applaud you for your consistency, because it really is useful to have you on this program.
Cuban refugees. As the son of Cuban refugees.
Pick another country. You're from Houston, you're from Alabama, you're from North Dakota. You're not a son of Cuban refugees. You're just a jerk.
No, I'm not. Hey, stupid, I'm not referring to myself. I'm referring to Rubio. Okay? Do you think Rubio, at what point is he going to snap that he's sitting there and playing stupid along with Trump as Trump kisses Putin's ass? Oh, we get along very well just because he murdered millions of people. I get along very well.
Which president imposed sanctions on Russia and the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and which president took them off? Which president killed hundreds of Russian mercenaries in Syria, and which president pushed a reset button to have warm and friendly relations with Russia? You like to call people names, and you like to call up with your rape fantasies, but you lose on issue after issue after issue. And every time you call in, I say, oh, I'm so glad this guy is calling in, because I enjoy taking your lunch money every time you call. And it's on the substance. It's not on the stuff. Every time, see, this is what you do. You move on. You try to change the subject when you're losing. You call me names. But I think listeners to this program will understand who really is stupid? It's the person who sticks with a losing party when they continue to lose, not just at the ballot box, but when all of their policies fail time after time after time. You are supporting a failed party, failed policies, and I look forward to your continued failure.
Why is it that if you're not a cult member, you're therefore a Democrat? Why is that?
You are a cult member. You're a member of the anti-Trump cult. You worship at that altar. Yes, you fantasize about Trump being raped in prison. That's a pretty cultish thing to think about all the time, don't you think? Have you sought therapy for that problem, by the way?
How embarrassing does Donnie?
All right, we got other callers to get to. Goodbye. Let's go to Tim in Kentucky on line 1. Tim, welcome to the program.
First time calling. I'm new to XM, so I never been able to get you before, but I've appreciated your comments and everything. But I'm blown out the water, the ignorance that the Democrat Party has shown the last 4